And here we go. We're finally on air. So we have Cup, we have Archon, and we have Curcio in the stream. And we were talking elections and stuff. That's kind of the headline of the stream as well. So we'll just start out with the first one, or first one. What do you think about the election? It's coming pretty close now. And what do you think of the whole election thing?
I'll let Incurcio speak first.
Huh?
I said I'll let Incurcio speak first. That way we can take turns instead of tripping over each other.
Go ahead.
This election so far is probably the most scariest as American who's living in the United States. You know, it's having only these choices are pretty fucking scary. But the revelations to come out the coming months, especially when the FBI leaks coming out with the candidates, you know, it's pretty scary. Yeah. So I say,
Yeah.
you know, you have still people blindly and willingly, you know, go for Hillary, and you have people socially aware what the fuck is going on, pretty much going for Trump, and everyone's seeing a landslide incoming in the next coming days. If I had to say who would win, it would probably Trump, and that's the saddest part.
Alrighty. Cracked. Do you have any like general thoughts?
It's really scary how people on both sides of the fence think that the other side of the fence is going to completely flip their lid if they don't get their way. Where I am right now, I am hearing a bunch of Hillary supporters who are really freaked out about the idea of Trump supporters like rioting in the streets with their guns or something. But the truth is, most Trump supporters think the exact same thing will happen with the Hillary supporters if Trump wins. And it really bothers me that both sides legitimately believe that there's some kind of danger in getting the results out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arco, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to kind of agree with Cup there for a minute. There's not exactly no evidence to show that, you know, there's no chance of violence or anything like that. Because, I mean, there has been violence on both sides, but it's mostly been coming from the Hillary camp. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you don't know for sure that there's going to be violence. Sure, there's a pretty good chance of it, just because of how volatile the election has been so far. But in the end, it's just one of those things where people are jumping to conclusions when I think we just need to calm down, because when you keep jumping to conclusions like this, you're just escalating it further, and it's just almost guaranteeing that there will be issues later on down the line. But if I had to make a guess who is probably going to win, I would guess Hillary, but that's just because if you look at the map and what states it would require for Trump to get, he would have to get quite a few of the battleground states and take a few states away from Hillary that are basically in her pocket already before he would have a chance of winning. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very unlikely, and I'm willing to bet that Hillary is going to be the one that wins. But either way, I don't really care because both of them suck dick, and yeah, fuck them.
Well, I kind of have a different perspective as you guys, since I'm looking at this from Europe, and I said this before. I both of the main candidates are not good options, to be honest. If I was gonna vote, I probably go third party. But Gary Johnson's kind of Stan is kind of doing some SGW stuff, so I don't really know who I'd vote for. But between the two main people, probably Trump, but not by a large margin. That's like choosing between AIDS and cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't legitimately feel good about either. Just like looking at the ballot, I'm not gonna say which box I filled in, but I couldn't feel good about either. I just felt like I almost feel like it was a coin toss. Like what?
It doesn't even matter, honestly. It really is down to that at this point.
It's just yeah, it's ridiculous. And like I said, everyone has this weird sense that something's gonna erupt, something's gonna go off. And what kind of scares me the most, as far as I've seen, is both sides are so hysterical. I think there are people that are just waiting for like one sign to just use that as like, well, because of that, this whole town had to burn, you know. And it's just it's
Waiting with
really
their
the
finger
tension.
on the trigger, basically.
Yeah, the tension is really sharp. I mean, I'm in California, and like literally town by town, people are voting in a completely different direction around here, you know. So just
I mean, there's just been so much stuff going on in the election. I don't know what you guys think about it, but all the stuff with Bernie getting his the party going against him and basically rigging that, and the whole email, and then we have Trump saying all this shit. It's kind of the biggest. The last election seemed pretty normal compared to this.
Yeah.
watching people. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. You go ahead. I'll do it.
Watching people go from being complete like Bernie supporters and almost semi-screaming "burn the witch" towards the other Democratic candidate, then over the last few months having to like somehow justify the swap over in their mentality, like, well, I know I said all those really horrible things about her before, but now she's great. I like Dave Chappelle came out and said that he was voting for Hillary, but he wasn't happy about it. And that was showcased as like this huge revelation, like, oh my God, he's voting for somebody, but he's not happy about it. And it's like, no, I think that's actually way healthier than what I've seen with most people who went from being huge Bernie supporters to just suddenly saying like, well, I guess the other Democratic candidate is all right. And
Yeah,
that's
it's way less two-faced.
you know, just wow.
The biggest the scene of this is Michael Moore.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, I'm not
I can
saying
tell you what
like
happened to him. The years happened to him.
the years.
Yeah, the years. He aged so fucking
Yeah,
much.
it's getting old.
Yeah.
Getting old as shit. He's losing his mind.
It just seems like I don't know how to describe it. He just sounded so different when he made that huge pitch for Hillary a few days or weeks ago. It just didn't sound like him. And I'm not saying that he was politically extremely different before, but just it sounded so strange. It almost sounded, scripted. And I don't want to be conspiratorial, but he just sounded so not enthused or inspired by his own will or ideas or anything. He was just kind of, yeah, vote this way.
Think he got replaced by a lizard or a robot?
Yes.
Well, Cup has a point because I believe it was in June, he actually went really hard against Hillary, like almost bashing her for what she did, and now he's singing a different tune because he's so afraid of Trump.
Yeah, the thing about the emails, too, that you brought up, Andadol, is that, like, I don't understand why people are being this fucking stupid. I don't even know if it's necessarily stupidity or if it's just that they're just that easily swayed, they're just that gullible to believe Hillary's bullshit. Because, regardless, okay, let's just, for the sake of argument, say WikiLeaks is owned by the Russians. It doesn't fucking matter. Would they be breaking the law by, doing espionage onto the government? Yeah. But regardless of what they did or how they came across that information, once that information is leaked out to the public, we can act on that information. And like, just because it came from Russia doesn't mean, oh no, it came from Russia, that can't be true. No, we're not going to do anything about it. No, that's right. It doesn't work that way. Not only that, but there's no actual evidence that Russia is behind WikiLeaks. So yeah,
Hillary is the one who's been claiming that it was Russia without really any
right. I
proof.
know, that's what I'm saying.
I
But
don't
like,
really,
there are so many people in her camp that are just swallowing that hook, line, and sinker and going with it and going, but Hillary said it was Russia. They're trying to turn us against each other. And it's just like, it doesn't fucking matter what they are trying to do. The fact of the matter is, this shit is actually, this shit was leaked. So far, it looks like it's factual. What the fuck do you have? What is your opinion on it, type of thing?
I look at it this way. I don't really care where facts really come from. I mean,
right.
if it's a Christian or a Muslim, whatever. I mean, I hate the ideology, but if the proof or the facts are there and they're showing something that is really not good, I don't really care where it comes from.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm just paraphrasing here, because first to claim it's just Russia, I don't really give a fuck. But in the end, does it really matter? Because it's true. It seems to be true.
Right.
What do you the whole email thing?
And Curcio, you've been pretty quiet.
Yeah. Basically, it doesn't matter what source you get, so long the information is there, it's there. So if, like, say, like what, fucking the Nazis leak, like the freaking Vatican, and it reveals information of Pope doing bribery, does it really matter where it's coming from if the information's there? No. The information, if the information is enough validation to prove the facts that what's happening on, whether it's a government, a country, wherever it is, the facts are facts. You shouldn't stop at looking at it. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, but this kind of goes to all the listen believe, but I also want to go to the whole media thing, which seems to be supporting Hillary, which I don't really understand.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, to sort of put on the tinfoil hat for a moment, Hillary is the status quo. Hillary is the safer of two options from the media's perspective of the universe, because from their perspective, their world would not be impacted by her being the president. Whereas with Trump, that would be unknown. It wouldn't be clear how Trump would affect their jobs, their how they operate, how they practice their thing. And so I could see the reason why they would want to push her is they're just trying to push the candidate who's not going to disrupt them.
Right, but like even then, like, didn't Trump make claims that he would like sue the shit out of any journalist that talked bad about him or something like that?
That's
So,
true.
That's something too.
He would revise libel laws.
Yeah.
Media.
So yeah, that's
the only
probably
good thing with Trump, really. Because God, digital media journalism is just so shit right now. They're just willing to like get any money where they can get from.
Yeah.
Well, just look at the Rolling Stones, just to give you an example, which had to settle for 7.5 million because of the UVA rape shit. If the law would be written in a good way, I wouldn't actually really oppose it, but it would have to be a good law, not just you can sue anyone for anything for writing about you. That would be a dangerous or a slippery slope to go down.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that a lot of people, and I'm worried about too, is that, and this goes for both candidates, because of all of that hullabaloo about Obama and his executive orders and all that shit. I have a feeling that those are going to be put into play a lot more often by both candidates, regardless of who wins. So, I mean, it's very likely that Trump would probably be like, nope, executive order, this is how libel laws work now, instead of going through the actual channels. And then, I mean, obviously, we don't know exactly how that would work out. He might not be able to do it, but there's always a chance that he would be able to do it. And then, you know, depending on what Hillary's pet issue of the day is, she might be able to executive order this, blah, blah, blah. So,
I just wonder if after all of this, we're going to actually hold anyone accountable or just pretend it never happened.
I would hope we hold people accountable.
Because, I mean, there are all the college kids that have literally attacked each other physically over which particular sign they're holding up for president. And, you know, I can't tell what direction we're going to go in. You know, after all of this, do we acknowledge that that actually happened? The people actually got punched in the face? Or are we going to just try to smooth over in an effort for everyone to work together better?
Right. I don't know. I guess the future will let us know.
Well, the reason I'm kind of having a small button on Trump is anti-PC approach. Not that I would really agree on his policies, which we really don't know what are. But if he's elected president, I think a lot of things would change, at least in the media and how politicians behave.
Right.
Oh, that's
Don't know what
definitely
you
an
guys
attractive.
think about it.
That's definitely an attractive quality about him. I mean, the thing that I find very difficult watching Hillary's speeches and everything is I just don't really see her trying to offer much to the table besides stability. Vote for me. Things will be same-ish. Vote for me. And it's like, well, I think given how, you know, sort of dramatic your competition is, maybe you could step it up just a little bit and try to throw something out there that'll perk my interest, you know? And I just, no. The space, the sort of space ambassador suits don't help her either. She looks like she should be in Star Trek or something. I mean, she looks at home for like a science fiction show, you know, Miss Political President Politician Person, you know, looks fine for one of those ambassador characters on Star Trek or something like that. But just, it was so weird watching her during the debates standing in the same room as Trump, and Trump just looks kind of like average Earth politician, and then she looks like space politician. And I know that is so trivial, but
well, my thoughts went to Battlestar Galactica for some reason. She kind of dressed like a female president in that series.
And it kind of scares me that Merkel looks like that too. Kind of, it's like, are you guys like? I don't know. Are you guys besties? I hope you're not. Please.
The hive mind.
No. They're both old white women. With a
The hive mind of old white woman. Cup, you will join us one day. Yes.
I don't know. Also, I would like to even this out really quickly and just say that Trump still has no excuse for his hair. He's rich. He has way too many resources, too many contacts. He knows too many people that could make it not look weird, and he has no excuse. And I just want to throw that out there so people aren't like, "Hey, you're criticizing a woman's appearance. That's so sexist." No, I just feel like Trump's hair is already the acknowledged elephant in the room. I was just trying to bring up the other side of it.
Not only that, but Hillary's decisions addressed that way is way more simple to change instead of like, oh, I might have to do surgery or, something else that Trump would have to do for his hair.
He just
'Cause,
needs
I
a
mean,
pair of scissors. I don't know what. I think there's
so basically your stance on this is that he just needs to go full neo-Nazi and shave his head bald, right?
Oh, that would look so horrible because then you would see the orange tan line, like where his hair used to be.
A white chrome dome.
Yeah, it
Oh my god.
The white chrome dome helmet with the orange mask. Oh Christ!
Like some war.
Oh God!
Or stuck at that point.
No! Even better, you could start playing the Go Power Rangers because then he's the
Oh,
orange
dear.
Power Ranger.
Oh,
Oh dear! If anyone is going to see Doctor Strange soon, that the Power Rangers trailer is in front of it, and it looks so weird. It just looks like it's gonna be so strange.
Hollywood
We can
rules.
talk about that near the end of the stream if you want, because I got my own opinions on that shit.
Well, I've also seen all this defense of Hillary claiming that any criticism thrown her way is sexism, which I don't get.
I kind of do. It's the same shit the SJWs do. I mean, if she was willing enough to make a tweet that was like, "Hey, yeah, this is someone from Gamergate, and she's a fucking prominent member that's been focused on by Gamergate, blah blah blah. You go support Brianna Wu." Then
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
it's not that big
I
of
can
a
get
stretch that she'd be willing to take some of the tactics out of their books too.
Well, I do get it that people think like this because they're retards, but why anyone would actually approve this being written is beyond me. Like someone at Huffington Post looked at this and said, "Huh, you published this." I'm like, how can any sane person
See, that's the
look at?
problem. That's the problem, Andrew. All sane. They're not. Not only that, but that actually brings up something that I was wanting to address a bit ago that I forgot about it. The emails released really are quite telling. That even some of the lower helpers within the Hillary Clinton campaign don't even believe the own shit they're spewing. Because there was I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the more recent Podesta leaks that they did. That was basically I can't remember what they were talking about, but basically there was a line in one of the emails that says we shouldn't start believing our own shit that we tell people. I think it was in regards to that they shouldn't start getting complacent because they knew that they'd win against Trump or something like that. Because they've been spreading the message, oh, Trump has no chance, we got this. But they shouldn't be, believing everything they tell everyone else. So it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, that's telling.
Stated Hillary herself that should have a public policy and a private policy.
Well, yeah, in
Stuff,
the Goldman Sachs speech, yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it would be I'm sure Trump has some stuff as well, but I don't think he really expresses it that way. But with Hillary, it's pretty obvious now that she has a public policy because she's getting so much money from Islamic countries, and she claims to be a feminist as well.
Saudi Arabia, Goldman Sachs, name it. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all.
Yeah. She's getting money from everyone. I wonder if they'd even be able to do an accurate probe into how much she fucking spent on this, campaign trail, and how much Trump has. Because, I mean, obviously you'd be able to judge some of it, but, considering how much money she's gotten from so many other countries and just other areas in general, you'd have to imagine that she'd be trying to hide some of that.
Well, also, I think it would be hard to calculate the difference between them because I personally bet that there are a lot of people that donated to Trump, but like really, really, really tried to cover it up because they didn't want the word to get back that they had somehow supported him in any way.
Racist. You
So-
donated money to that racist. You're a racist.
Yeah, so I bet Trump got a lot of money from donors who just tried to I wouldn't say embezzle it, but just tried to hide it as best as possible.
Right.
So trying to add up in the end what she got and what he got, I think it would be really difficult on either end to get a good number.
Well, yeah, I already said that it would probably be really difficult, but it'd be interesting if they could.
Yeah. I mean, I think on her end of it, it would be some very creepy sources.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't really like the whole, at least in US. I don't know the laws in like UK or other country or Canada, but I don't like how much money is being like. I would almost look at them as bribes, at least from like big donors. When they give
It
so much
literally
money
is
to
almost that at this point.
is bribing.
It's basically legalized bribing at this point.
I think there should be at least a limit to what a person could donate and how big the fund or super PAC, whatever they are, they get donated to have some sort of limit.
There's already limits. I think there's already limits on businesses. I can't remember if there is on individuals, but yeah, it's
Citizen United, I think they made it unlimited. I might be wrong though, but this sounds really socialistic or communistic from my part. But I think that it's just way overboard. How much money is much money you can give someone who's probably the most powerful person in the world, and you can basically legalize or legally bribe that person.
right.
Well, the flip side to the coin is that when you don't have a lot of limitations on how much people can give, then you can actually sort of trace it better in who's giving.
True, but at the same time, when you look into like how the election has worked right now, like tracing it doesn't seem to be doing much good because the people on Hillary's side, at least a good majority of them, just drink the Kool-Aid, listen and believe. I don't care. Oh yeah, you say she was paid by Saudi Arabia, whatever. It's for the greater good. No one cares. Fuck off. I think that's just how it is.
Enderdahl, I don't know if you can tell by the energy of the stream, but we are all very exhausted by the election, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell. I'm just getting your thoughts and opinions for the election and how it is.
Before the nuclear fallout sets in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have no idea how true those words might be depending on how things play out.
But
Yeah,
because just comparing like Norwegian laws are very strict because you can only give $1,000 as a gift to a single person. Now you can donate, I think, $10,000 are like the most you can give to the party in a year. That's about the max, I think. Because they're very, very strict here. I think they should have something similar in the U.S. because you have senators who should be having NASCAR jackets instead of the dresses or the suits they have because they are sponsored by literally the medical industry or oil industry or whatever, the companies from there.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the election other than the nuclear fallout and the hair of Trump and the way Hillary dresses because we're sexists?
I
Encourage
think
be quiet, dude.
I think like we're all really exhausted because we've been keeping our butts clenched for weeks now, and we're still sitting waiting with bated breath, and it's like the adrenaline ran out, but we're still waiting on the results.
Basically, to continue your analogy, we're all sitting on the toilet with our butts clenched, and we're waiting for the shit to drop.
Yeah, but it's been so long. It's been so long, and it's
And
just
the country is just so constipated.
my plan for that day is there's going to be no checking the internet. I'm gonna have all my internet business is gonna be set up the day before. Any posts you see that day or whatnot, there's somehow going to be like time set or whatever. There is no internet connection, no nothing. Just like hunker down, and I don't know. There's gonna be a DVD box set, or there's
With
just
ice
going to be
cream and chocolate bars.
and an intense amount of Mario Kart, an extreme amount of Mario Kart. Possibly.
Better yet, just be like, fuck Mario Kart, World of Warcraft, let's go grind. 1 to 100, let's go.
I was thinking of speed running Resident Evil, but that's basically the same as comfort eating. You know, when it's the same thing. I mean, when you know where everything is, when you're not even thinking anymore. You're just stabbing zombies in the eyeball and headshotting as you.
So basically, like me farming souls in Dark Souls 2. Okay.
Yeah. Or if worse comes to worse, somehow my television blows up or something. It's just gonna be Stardew Valley, and with the internet cord pulled out of the back of the computer unit, and just I don't
Forcefully.
know,
You just open up the computer and pull out the graphics card, or not the graphics card, the the Ethernet card.
Yeah. It's just I don't want to witness the countdown. Like, I'm willing to accept the next day we will have this president or that president, but I don't want to watch the moment-to-moment business. I don't want to see the states turn different colors on the map. I don't want the moment-to-moment Wolf Blitzer analysis.
Oh God.
It's so boring.
You must be a real buzzkill on New Year's, huh?
Nothing bad happens on New Year's.
Oh God. Well, let's move on to the other topic, which is kind of
Thank
more
you.
serious.
Thank God. Well, before we
with,
move on, Curcio, did you want to put your last words in or no?
Yes. So far, this election has been, pretty crazy. I'll be just sitting playing Warframe in a nuclear bunker somewhere in Bridgeport or some shit like that, just sitting by, watching everything go nuclear, and I'll just be sitting there just playing video games all fucking day. So, yeah, I'm with Cup on this one. So,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Do you
The one's
have
gonna burn, the
leftover
one's gonna
Halloween
burn.
candy? Do you have leftover Halloween candy? I have a crystal punch bowl full of leftover Halloween candy.
Oh my God. I've got,
Everyone
like,
has
really,
too much diabetes. Nobody took enough candy. Everyone's like, I'm on
Diabetes!
diet.
Diabetes!
So
I
so
literally
it's-
have two containers, two packets of Twix and 2 packets of Kit Kats sitting in my fridge from Halloween that I'm just gonna munch on that day.
just feel
let's move on. Let's move on to a little more serious topic, which we kind of mentioned before we started up. And Milo Stewart. Anyone who doesn't know who Milo Stewart is, it's basically the poster child for a transgender these days. Basically, she's the one who said all whites are sexist, or all whites are racist, and all males or white males are transformed, some shit like that. And her video went viral, and she made a video on her second channel, I believe it is. And it's kind of telling, that video, because in that video she says she wants to start taking hormone therapy or hormone replacement whatever HRC it's called, and
That's HRT, hormone replacement therapy.
yeah, okay, HRT. I thought it was HRC. Anyway, and just to prove that she's really a transgender or non-binary or something like that, and actually starts crying. And I saw a Suit Yourself video. I would actually recommend people watch Suit Yourself's video on this, because he had someone who didn't make the transition but would actually call themselves transgender, I suppose, because they would people would probably regret doing this, because you're ruining your body taking those hormones, and you might also risk becoming sterile and risk other diseases and even cancer in some cases. And the only reason he or she whatever I would call her she, because she's a female. I mean, I could call her a he as well. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not trying to be offensive or something, because it's call her or something or a he. And
I'm just gonna call
Milo,
Milo a guy because Milo hasn't earned the respect that they're requiring me to give. Milo doesn't.
yeah.
deserve it, in my opinion.
Well, the reason in that video she states that it's to actually prove that she's not just a transgender, but she's actually has some body dysphoria or something like that. And I would actually say that she's way too young to actually make a decision like this to transition to a male.
Wait. How old is Milo?
18, just turned 18.
And
Oh,
that's
wow.
actually part of sort of the problem that's happening with that person right now, is that Milo was kind of hiding behind the shield. And I don't mean like hiding nefariously, but sort of Milo is utilizing the fact that because she is underage or was underage, that they could sort of say a lot of outrageous things on YouTube and really just, I don't know what to call it, fall down the Tumblr gender spiral, and that there were no real world consequences or any real world relation to what they were doing in their bedroom in front of their camera. And now that they're growing up, Milo's starting to realize, oh crap, when I go to university, I'm going to have to choose a biological sex. I'm going, and when I say that, I mean like literally, you got to sort of decide, what bathroom am I using, what, which gym classes or whatever am I saying for, and they're suddenly having like all these realizations about the real world is coming into your life, suddenly hitting them, and overall Milo has just started to crack under the pressure.
Yeah, because that's what's happening, and no pun intended. Teacup, crack tea. That's what your handle is.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's what's happening is because I don't really know these sort of people or like Milo, who live in their own bubble and want to be a special little snowflake, and then suddenly realize it's a big world out there and they're not that special, and then they have to make real decisions and things like that. And first people try to like just out or ridicule her, and then try just mocked Storm, and now it's actually concern from people like Suit Yourself, again mentioning that video, because he didn't actually bash Milo in that video, even though he makes like wrecked videos or roast videos, as you might call it, but actually showed some concern with people like Milo making these decisions, because you can't actually take these decisions back when you start on this stuff, and have big consequences. That's why I think social justice warriors and the Tumblrites and third wave feminism really dangerous because it like easily personal kids and young people about themselves might be a little bit of loners and it might even have had some abuse and in this way these people can can feel special in some kind of way by having non-binary or some sort of gender identity making them feel special but then when the real world actually hits them back they're not equipped to actually live in the real world, which is really concerning to actually see this stuff.
Well, in a video Milo recently made before, the most recent one, which is kind of freaking everyone out just because the tone seems very dire or very depressive, but in a previous video, Milo was starting to freak out because Milo was realizing that after you turn 18, there's this potentiality of adults may hit on you romantically. And it's not whether or not they're male or female, it's that people might start hitting on you, and then you have to start to say to people whether or not you're attracted to them or not, or when you have to actually verbally reject somebody or take them up on their offer and jot down their phone number or whatnot. And Milo was expressing how incredibly traumatizing it seems to be that, oh my gosh, I can't say that I'm a teenager anymore. If an adult approaches me, I'm going to have to give them some kind of a response, whether or not I'm interested or not. And it just seems like that idea of the real world. What?
It seems lazy.
Yeah, that Milo, was sort of using their age to hide from having to deal with these real world issues. And it hits me also that in the most recent video where a lot of this concern is coming from is I think Milo's getting bullied by their own community, not by us. And I think that's the ridiculous thing. If you listen very carefully to how...
because what she said in that video actually seems that on Tumblr don't actually believe her, and this is her way of proving it by taking hormone replacement therapy, which isn't really a healthy thing to do.
In the same tone of voice, a kid might say that they're going to try to jump some gap with their bike to prove that they can do it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't saying it I'm going to transition because I want to, or I'm going to take hormones because I want to. It was I'm going to show them. I'm going to take hormones and show them. Prove it.
And see, that's another sign though that this might not actually be something even if she does go through with the transformation, then it's that doesn't necessarily mean that you actually are body dysphoria, full on actual a transgender person. Because if you're just doing it to prove someone else wrong, that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, is this going to be the first real lab rat sort of what has Tumblr wrought, to
Right.
our generation? Is Milo the canary?
The liar, guinea pig, white rat hybrid.
But that's how I'm actually looking at it, just outside, because I haven't actually done videos. I've just watched her videos, him, and responses to her, and just seen how it's all been unfolded. And it seems to me like a weird social experiment to me, just looking at how this is all unfolding, and it look good in my opinion. It's really fucking unhealthy.
I actually dug through the comments on this latest troubling video that we're talking about, and something that I found very interesting is there's sort of two camps of people, and that is that the people that you would think would be very supportive of Milo are the ones who are severely criticizing Milo. They're trying to tone police Milo, basically. This is not how things are. You shouldn't say that. Blah 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 blah. It's sort of like how they approach us. How when feminists or Tumblrinas try to approach us and say how we're allowed to use language or not. Those are the people that are really browbeating Milo. And then what's interesting is most of the people who are trying to offer support are people who are saying, Milo, I don't even I can't comprehend what you're doing. I don't understand what you're doing, but you need to chill out and just stop looking at your genitals and move forward in life. And I find it really interesting, sort of the flip side to this, because you'd think because we're the shitlords that we would be the bullies in this situation, but clearly Milo is being bullied from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because a lot of the people that were giving her advice are people that she would probably consider people that are, transphobic, racist, etc. So it's just kind of like that's a little bit weird that you're giving all these people that are actually trying to, give you some decent advice and might just disagree with you about what you're doing. You're giving them all this fucking acrimony and hatred, but then you're actually it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome system or a situation. You're getting insulted and abused by the people that you count yourself among, but then it's like I just don't know. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting situation. And what's also interesting is when she talks about being bullied, she's very careful not to get too descriptive about where the bullying is coming from.
Yeah.
Very nondescript. Not, and you would think if it was sort of our side of the aisle, Milo would be
fucking
very
gamer gears.
Oh yeah. But the guardedness. It's like, well, I'm getting bad comments. I'm getting negative feedback from people. Giant air quotes around that. It's that's really interesting. I mean, I hope that we don't find Milo swinging from somewhere other anytime soon, but it's a really kind of interesting case to watch unfold. Another video I would like to point out is that besides Suit Yourself, which is a great video response that Suit Yourself did, there's also another YouTuber named Yorick. And Yorick did a response that was equally as good. And what's interesting about
I would agree.
yeah, and what's interesting about Yorick is somebody who has been living as their preferred sex for an incredibly long time compared to most people, and has totally integrated into society as who they want to be. And Yorick's video is basically just stop.
Yeah, because just to give you some background on Yorick, I would actually recommend people go over to that channel, because Yorick is actually a female to male transgender, and also often talks about her experience as a woman compared to man, and vice versa. And I think she was he actually, sorry. Yorick was the first one who actually did a response to this, and just as Suit Yourself was really actually non like roasting, but actually because I think people are realizing that if people actually continue to like roast or go down this path, it might actually have really bad consequences, to say the least.
Right.
What we really have to make sure is somehow Steve Shives doesn't reach out to Milo and convince Milo to start blocking everything. And
I'm Steve Shives. Don't listen to those fucking gamer geeks and shit.
I'm Steve Shives. I believe that the best way to make yourself better is to isolate yourself into a dark little corner and never hear anyone else's thoughts on anything, so all of your own personal negative thoughts just build up on top of each other.
And then you end up committing suicide 2 weeks later.
Yes.
Yeah, but what I also find really revealing is no one of the so-called tolerant SJW feminist side of things, which I've tried to look at, have actually done videos on her, like Suit Yourself, and others have done now recently, actually giving her advice, and not crapping all over Milo.
Yeah,
These
it's
are
just it's really weird because you would think that if we're talking about this from the perspective of there being sort of two different sides of the political spectrum here, you would think that sort of Milo's camp would have been the first group to really want to jump in and say, "Hey, I noticed the tone of your videos is getting really scary, and I just wanted to offer some support." It's really strange that we're the ones stepping up at this point saying like, hey, Milo, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
yeah, and I actually hope Milo watches either Yorick, Suit Yourself, or even this stream, because they're taking such a big decision so early in life. I mean, when I was 18, I don't think I would be able to make such a decision regarding making this transition. If I were having body dysphoria, I think I might have had body dysphoria. So 18, you don't even you're still in your teens. Making such a big decision is something I would not recommend doing, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, at 18, I was pretty convinced that I was probably asexual, and luckily the asexual like community or the ace community didn't really exist back then. So I didn't attach myself to any label or anything. It's just in my head I was thinking like, I'm probably asexual. And now looking back, it's like I'm so happy I did not attach myself to that, get sucked into that, and I can't imagine what it was like for this person to sort of start to think that they might be this weird, strange identity, and then they get pulled straight into all of this. And
Yeah, you only stayed asexual until you found porn, and then you're like, fuck that.
well, the thing is that really when you think of it, there's this whole community that's formed around being quote unquote asexual, but in reality, like I think it's very harmful to identify with not being sexual, because then what it does is it locks you into this idea of who you are, and if something changes in the future as you live your life, then you'd have to make some kind of like recounting video like guys, I'm sorry, but I gotta tell you, so I've never had a boyfriend my whole life, but now I have a boyfriend, so I guess I was lying about being an asexual. It's like I never had to do that. I never had to do the weird apology video. And there
Right.
have been Tumblristas who've had to do those kinds of videos where they're like, oh, guys, so actually I'm not this anymore. I'm not that anymore because I actually went out into the real world and then I figured out whatever it is that I am. You know.
It's almost like Tumblr is kind of hindering this shit.
Well, what it
Well-
encourages, sorry, Andrew, I'll shut up in 2 seconds. But I think what Tumblr encourages people to do is like, I think Tumblr encourages it that if you get an idea about yourself, to grasp onto that original like thought you had, and to just start navel gazing as intensely as possible, and don't look outside of your house, and don't interact with other humans. Just latch
Well, that's
onto
what I
that
mean.
first
That's what
thought.
I'm saying when it hinders this. It's not even necessarily like Tumblr itself, because obviously the platform isn't doing it, but it's the community on Tumblr, because as you said, it's navel gazing to the extreme. It really hinders your development as a human, which is something every human really needs.
Well, I was just about to mention that before I was rudely interrupted. No, I'm just kidding. Because all these these people on Tumblr and the social justice warriors, and they they don't live in or don't want to live in the real world. They want to live on perpetually on the internet and as a victim, not being able to face problems and be able to solve them. Basic tools for all human beings, but instead they want to be feel special and. I don't know if they're just weak mentally. I'm just speculating here, or whatever the cause is. But it's really not healthy, and they're also being really mean to certain individuals, which can have really negative effects on some people with either self harm or even suicide, and in some cases, if they do this stuff, and that's one of the real life consequences of social justice, so to speak, is that people are getting harmed by this stuff, actually harmed either by this stuff on actual violence and actual harassment, not this I say mean things to you, or I'm critical to you, I said you're a dick, not shit like that, but actually bullying someone, actually in the real life going and punching someone or discriminating against someone because of their gender or race, for that
I
matter.
have seen on Tumblr, and I'm set up on Tumblr where I'm just getting like a stream of fashion history, current fashion, whatever, like imagery. I've really tried to curate my follow list so that all I'm doing is I'm getting like magazine images streamed in my general direction. But even then, I constantly see messages coming through my feed that say really destructive things like, you know, if you have a mental illness, don't go talk to the doctor, because really, if you're having auditory and visual hallucinations, doctors are part of some kind of patriarchal system that's designed to keep you down and not actually help you. It's much better to just talk to other mentally ill people on Tumblr. And it's like, no, that's about the worst thing ever, because what if one of those voices says, I think you should go fly off a bridge tomorrow? You need
Or
to
go bring a gun to school tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you don't. And it's this weirdness where I would almost call Tumblr like some evolved form of Wizard Chan. Like it's just, it's like, no, don't reach out. Stay with us. Just stay here.
One of us, Google gobble, Google gobble.
Yeah, and again, I just feel like, you know, Milo's starting to get beat up by their own in crowd, but Milo is holding on to this idea of like, I can't reach out to other people. Anyone who's ever criticized me in the past, I can't look or acknowledge that they're trying to help me now. You know.
That's like really sad to have someone in that situation just to begin with.
Oh, we
Yeah,
have a self-admitted wizard in the chat.
dude.
Oh, my
A very manly wizard, I think. Maybe.
manly gray-haired wizard.
Sorry,
A wizard
Underdog.
is never late, nor is he early. He arrives exactly when he means to. Isn't that the saying?
I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Going off a pop at the minute.
But back to the whole social justice thing. Now, I don't think it's just limited to Milo Stewart. I mean, there are other younger YouTubers who are eating this ideology up when it's really harmful.
The question is, how do we convince them that, you know, we're not only criticizing their perspective? You know, we make these videos where we say like, you're wrong or whatever, but how do we convince them that, you know, we are offering a helpline if they need it? Because that's the thing that I see is that it's like they think they have to stay within and that they can't reach out. How do we somehow break that shell and tell them that the people who are skeptical of you are also willing to help you or support you if you hit a rough spot? and your community just isn't, you know.
I don't think there really is a way to really like convince them. It's just gonna have to be something that they're gonna have to realize on their own. Because it's just they've gotten to the point now where they're so just distrustful of people not in the community that any amount of attempts to persuade them from our side isn't going to get through because they're just gonna automatically write it off. It's similar to like and I know it keeps coming back to this, but it's similar to like a religious thing. I'm not going to listen to you. You're just a dirty Satanist or whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
The chat
but
demands more Gundam guy, by the way.
Curse you. Speak, motherfucker.
Is he
Cursio,
just too polite?
Excuse me? I'm not a Gundam.
The chat thinks you're a
I
Gundam.
sexually identify as a Tegu.
I had to attack helicopter!
I sexually identify
Yeah,
as an attack helicopter.
I can't fit my blade.
yeah, but anyway, yeah, just hearing about this, I'm 19 years old. It's hard coming from a teenager to an adult because you will hit some boundaries that are new to you that you never did before as a teen or a kid. So having these poisonous ideals into someone like this is very, very toxic. Especially those who supported you using these ideals are attacking you. Is just fucking dangerous. And you're right. This is the aftermath of Tumblr because I had a couple people who were getting into like Tumblr and eating the shit that was already in, and I'll feel sorry for them if they have to go through this point in their lives, making difficult choices like these to where they have really no other help until really the only people who are willing to offer them is the ones they don't like. And at that point, someone who has these ideals, who have this kind of mindset, is probably going to feel like they don't have like no other choice.
Yeah. Kind of going back to what I was saying a minute ago about how it's almost a religious thing. If you look at, I can't remember the exact group that was doing this. I don't know whether it was Mormons or whether it was some other religious group that was doing this. But basically, you weren't allowed to leave the town, or you weren't allowed to talk to outsiders. Only the adults were allowed to do that, etc. And if you did, then you were severely punished, or you were excommunicated from the town, or something like that. And a lot of the people that ended up either getting excommunicated or just left of their own volition did it because they realized that as they started interacting with people in their own town more and more, it just wasn't enough for them. And so they left, and then they realized, hey, this is just a big fucking lie that they're trying to do to keep us in the town and to keep us with them. And, as soon as you start investigating that, it's really obvious that it's not what they're saying it is. So I think the only way that Milo is going to really be able to better themselves, himself, herself, whichever they would prefer to identify as, it's going to have to be one of those things where if they really want to help themselves and, make their situation less shitty, maybe they should try more than just the, this is safe for me, I know this is good. Maybe you need to try something you may not be comfortable with.
Yeah, but I see this. I see this all the time. I was currently watching a stream between three feminists and three anti-feminists on Other Faces stream channel, and just listening from to what these feminists are saying is really disheartening because they don't. It's all in the feels and not in the reals. They don't base anything on evidence, and it's just lies. And I mean, people going into college. I don't know if Incursia has experiences with his friends or whatever. People going into college right now or leaving high school, they are met that it's totally fine to have this gender identity and this lie that with the rape myth that 1 in 4 women are gonna be raped, even though it's been debunked so many times, and the whole wage gap myth, which makes it seem that women are viewed less in the workforce or in society in general. It's grown ass people are believing this, and we've seen this the last few years becoming a real big thing. I mean, Gamergate is the example of this.
Well,
I don't know
what I
what
find
to do.
what I find so hard with this is so like I know a lot of religious people. I'm an atheist, but I'm friends with a lot of people who are religious. And the thing is that we have a common understanding in the basic premise that they believe in a religion, in a particular deity, what have you, and I don't. But we both acknowledge that that they are part of a religion and they believe in this religion, and there are just people outside of that religion. But we know where we're at. And what's so weird about this is that if you look at how it operates and everything, it is a weird kind of religion. It's like a non-religion religion where nobody wants to acknowledge that they're basically following
No,
a
I
faith
think you're
system.
right. I think
And
you're right because they believe in the mythical patriarchy, which no one can prove. It's just there, and even though you don't know it, so it's basically some sort of deity, which is the patriarchy keeping women and minorities down and benefiting white cis males. Sorry to interrupt you,
no,
Cup. Go
no, no,
ahead.
that's okay. I was trying to pull up. I
You
made
like
this
fucking women,
stupid
don't you,
little.
you fucking nubby?
I made this stupid little MS Paint graph that I was trying to find. Here it is. Okay, so I just want to draw this comparison really, really quickly. So, if I meet somebody who says they're part of one of the monotheist religions, they're a Christian or they're a Jew or they're Muslim, it's like, okay, that's cool, whatever. And then, but feminists will say like, oh, but this is not a religion. But isn't privilege original sin? Isn't patriarchy Satan? And isn't identifying as a feminist being born again and surrendering yourself to God, basically?
Basically.
Yeah, and see where the problem I find comes in is they're like, no, feminism is science, and it's like, no. If we could just acknowledge what you actually are, this would take away half the problems. I could just say, oh, you believe in feminism. Okay, I won't touch that. I respect that you believe in feminism. But it's the trying to push a religion basically, or a faith system, as scientific as something else. That's where all the conflict is.
Feminism is basically the caste system in Hinduism, where basically the cis white male is on top. Then you have white females, and then you have black males, and you go further down, and you at the bottom you find some sort of uh, transgender, disabled.
What about untouchables? Are you calling Cup untouchable?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what's going on here. It's quite horrific. It's absolutely terrible. Yeah.
It's okay, Cup. You're not untouchable.
That's basically the caste system, and basically also monotheistic religion, with the patriarchy being the devil, basically. and feminism being the solution, basically Jesus or some sort of crap, saving the people from the evil patriarchy.
And where the analogy of with patriarchy and Satan is the idea that there is an unseen evil, but it penetrates and permeates everything. It's in everything. It's, Satan is in all things that are evil. So patriarchy is all things that are bad. And but because it is invisible and because it is not something that you can touch or directly point at, you can never truly destroy it. You just can only fight it continuously forever and ever. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone's belief system by saying that. I'm just saying that what I'm sort of criticizing here is that feminism doesn't want to say what it really is. It wants to say, like, no, patriarchy is some kind of measurable, scientifically provable point, and that's where the divide is. But so how do we start the support program? Because this is going to be basically the new wave of like YouTube atheists. People coming out of Tumblr. It's going to be, that's the new wave. We had Amazing Atheists and his buddies, and so now the next wave is going to be Milo and folks coming out of Tumblr. And how do we bridge that gap?
I don't know, but I know TJ is garbage.
You're garbage, TJ.
Oh yeah, I know TJ's garbage. He's a piece of shit. But
No, I was making a joke because that's what's constantly called on drunken peasants.
You're garbage,
I know.
TJ.
I know he's
And TJ.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we need to ban TJ and we need to figure out a way to save Dorn. I'll admit, if anyone needs
Dorn,
feminism,
or my mac and cheese, Dorn.
if anyone needs feminism, I think Dorn needs feminism.
Yeah.
But,
Scotty. Jesus, man.
Hey, Scotty. Jesus, man.
uh,
White guilt, Paul.
But well, I think we pretty much discussed everything we can, because I think we have had actually pretty good discussion. Just in the end, just a summary. What do you think we can do to like help people like Milo actually not make those big mistakes we can actually see from outside? How can we actually reach them? Do you have any good suggestions? I can start with Incursio.
come on, Incursio, say it.
One suggestion.
Yeah, you've been sitting here this whole fucking time not doing shit. Come on, get to work.
Okay. Sorry, because I had people move around in the room and shit. So, anyways, one thing we'll probably do is pretty much expose what their pretty much belief is. Basically, if they're being influenced by like these people with these set of ideals through feminism by Tumblr, at least expose them like what is the definition, and if they're not aware of the definition, should they continue to trust on that on the belief that they should transition or make choices on these beliefs, so not so rationally, and just be more rational for it.
So basically, what you'd recommend is just do more research before you actually get so hooked into something.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, cracked tea chips, whatever you want to be called.
Or
I
the
have
untouchable.
2 screen names because it's more fun. I think we need to come up with, I mean, like not as a hive mind, but I think in general maybe we should try to, somehow communicate that, if somebody feels like they want to or they need to cross over, or that they're not safe in their clique anymore, that just because people disagree with you, we're or willing to be supportive of whatever change you want to make. If you're coming out of Tumblr and you think like, oh no, but Sargon of Akkad, I know those people hate my guts because they criticized me before. Somehow I need to communicate like it's okay to change your mind. If you don't believe in that anymore and you want to not
You want to come over to
drink
our
the
side?
Kool-Aid,
Have cookies.
we're not going to beat you.
Well, some of us might. Depends if they're dominatrix or not.
I guess so. That's a problem to consider, but the majority of us won't hurt you. We don't bite, most of us, and somehow if we could convey that, I think it would create sort of, I know this sounds weird, but like a safety net for people who want to change out when and if they decide to do that, and not make
Yep.
them feel trapped in their ideology.
Are you saying we need to make a safe space for them?
We need to make it clear somehow that basically that alienating themselves from their group somehow doesn't jettison them out into the void of space. That like there are people out there that will be supportive of you if you leave the hive mind. If you choose to leave the hive mind, you won't die. There are people out there.
They have cookies.
Gon, what do you have to say?
Yeah, basically, one of the main things that I think, and I'm not sure if either one of you covered it, but the main thing is that criticism and disagreement is not hate. It's not violence. I think that's some things that a lot of people, well, I can't say a lot, but it seems to be a theme that some people are taking to on Tumblr or just within the community that Milo seems to be attached to in general. That, and especially like the really zealous people like Zarna and stuff, that disagreement or criticism is violence. Sometimes literally violence, like not hyperbole type violence, but actual violence or hate speech. And I think as long as you get it through your head that it's literally just free speech, no one is hurting you by saying, "Hey, I'm sorry that you think that you're a transgender, but I don't believe that transgender is a thing." I mean, that's just their opinion. You can move on. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to be the end of the world, and it's not going to force you to believe what they believe. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I pretty much I'm the one who's talked the most. So I think I pretty much said what I had to say on this topic.
Say it again, anyways.
Yeah,
Nobby.
I'm not Nobby. But yeah, I put your links in the description if they want to follow you. I need to get yours in Curcio. I forgot your Twitter. You just send me it on Skype, and I can put it in the description.
By
yeah.
the way, we can talk about Zarna too.
No, and we can do a different stream on that. I want to do a video where we can react to the video itself. Okay, that would be more fun, where we could have some cack bombs while we actually watch the video. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Nobby.
Nobby.
And yeah, Nobby. And yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.